Hey Sherry, how you doing? I just submitted the video for the critique for your banner, and then I came over here and we're in grading now. So this is a private forum, so you'll be the only one viewing this. But I wanted to get this to you because of what you have written here. Um, okay, you're talking about. I think it does flow, but you're talking about the stop points. Thanks for explaining it. Okay. Basically everything that you're describing here, I think, is just growing pains of a designer. It's just really, you say to yourself, okay, if I move this here, this should work. So you move this here, and then you realize that this over here is completely out of balance. So then that didn't work. So you go back and you go, okay, well, it should work if I put this over here, then I can move this here. So you try that, and then you realize it's out of alignment. So there's always something, and there always will be something. It's like, I don't know if you're a golfer or not. I'm not, but my dad was, and he used to always talk about all of the mechanics involved in putting. And if you move one thing, 8 other things change. And I often equated that to design because it's very true. You go to move one thing, and all of a sudden your composition is completely out of whack. So yes, and all I can say, Sherry, is just keep working with it. Keep remembering, just remember your elements and principles of design and just keep working. Remember, alignment is very, very, very important. Okay, and just keep working through it. Last issue I had was I couldn't move around the background photo. After I embedded it, you're talking about the fact that you sized the image to the banner, and that's good. That's what you're supposed to do. That way your banner size isn't bloated. So yeah, you absolutely size the image in Photoshop. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go back to the original Photoshop and recrop it and resize it. Just because the first one you used doesn't work doesn't mean you can't go back and do it again and just replace the image, right? So keep that in mind. I should not have resized the beach image prior to placing it. So no, that is not true. You're saying perhaps I should not have sized the beach image prior to placing it, so it would have more of an image to work with. No, you didn't know that. Plus, I want to tell you something, and I don't want to mean to complicate things, but when you place a smart object, you don't have to, you can actually do your editing. You can go straight to Photoshop from in Illustrator and edit on the fly, so you don't necessarily have to stop. And that's a little more of an advanced technique. So we don't get into that in this class, but that is an option. So yeah, you always want to size your image prior to placing it in the project, okay? And if you have to change it, you have to change it. These are things that are unforeseen, and it's part of design. I thought I knew what I was doing. Oh, you're doing great. I think you're doing great. I do believe, boy, let me see. Oh, I remember. Wanted to talk about this right here. This is your new ad. Okay, and much better. Yes, I agree. Much, much better. I'm just not a fan of putting a stripe behind text to make it readable. The way that I see it is if you have to put something, you should recompose the, for example, I'm looking at this image and I'm seeing this white type fitting perfectly right in here. And you may have to do some jimmying with the shadow. You may have to add some areas to the shadow in Photoshop, but that should work. I'm just for an example. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying that's an example. And then the purple logo will fit right over that, and it will be visible. So there. Now this I think this is much better. It makes more sense. However, I think the grouping is still kind of strange. So this belongs together. So these all three belong together. So let's move those closer, just a little bit closer. The space between paragraphs is just, they almost seem like they're not related. Okay, then I would take this whole thing here and I'd pull it down till it starts about here, comes to about here. Then I would pull the date down. I'd reduce the size. The date doesn't have to be that big, so that the date would be above the logo. Okay, and then of course that is all left, right aligned. All right, now this, I talked about this as being a problem because it looks like a logo. I turn this into just a headline. just a purity semicolon body dash mind dash soul. And that way it doesn't look like a logo. That way it's not competing with Amethyst Bay. It's actually a proper headline. Or you can work the verbiage so it is a proper headline. Or we get rid of this altogether, and this is your headline right here. Okay, your call, but just keep doing what you're doing because you're definitely headed in the right direction. This was smart, moving this over so it's not centered. I talked about this in the critique for the banner, so good choice there. I'm okay if you get rid of her. I know it's a requirement to have that clipped image in your ad, but as far as I'm concerned, it's not working, and I think it's compromising the integrity of the ad, and I think that is something that we don't want to have happen for this ad in your final portfolio. So I'm okay removing her if you're okay removing her. All right. Any questions, comments, or anything else? I know it's unusual to put a video in grading, but I just wanted to make sure that you got this after I read your writing. Okay. Any questions, just feel free to get with me. Okay. Thanks.